Pieces to Star with the Star Blooms. The child who's been taught to fear. I was sitting with certain rates of inner child healing, recognizing that a lot of the times we don't properly represent energy of the inner child, because a lot of the times it's based off of an adult perception. If you deal with like kids, you'll recognize little ones, they usually don't have no fear. They'll stand on top of a bed and they'll jump off without any thought, without any hesitation in their spirit, unless they're taught to behave, be safe, don't do that, with good intentions. A lot of the times they're taught these things. However, sometimes it represents a certain loss. And the reason why that becomes an issue is because in order for you, the one who is retrieving the inner child, to properly trust and to burn away the self-destruction that comes in as this teacher in patterns, that you have to basically start to learn how to not necessarily just be cautious too, but to learn how to diminish them and to dismantle them in order for, like, to burn them away, really, in order for you to properly trust your intuition. It's a rate that you have to be in to fully see. So with the inner child, a lot of the times, there's so much information coming in all at once. A lot of times you have to basically give yourself the opportunity to fully feel the whole of the emotions. And certain rates of grief, and I'm going to say this because I know everybody doesn't think how I think. So for me, when you think about a childhood that's not fully lived or that is cut short due to whatever circumstances, there is a loss and a heartbreak in that space. However, the child who is basically being taught to basically conceal, to be safe, to be shut in, what am I thinking? There's this rate of quieting down what should be properly expressed. When you think about certain rates of grief and loss, a lot of the times we try to put them away. We don't really allow ourselves to embody or be in the tears of whatever it is that we are feeling. But that a lot of times comes from this space of having to put on a good face. When you're dealing with the inner child and you're recognizing that these things that you've allowed yourself to be conditioned in, putting it away for a better day. No, this isn't important right now. There's something other than you that's more important, that needs your attention and your energy. You have to basically do what's best for everybody. You don't have time for this. These are self-destructive behaviors that you sometimes can be conditioned in. And in learning how to stop patterns, and even being at a rate to where you could actually start to begin to recognize and have pattern recognition, is amazing, because it will help you and aid you in ways of combating things that will come into you, even into your vortex, as a way of dismantling you for its own benefit, especially in spiritual warfare. So when you come to a rate of understanding that there's this foundation that comes in that is going to be supported by your ancestors, right? Because for me, there's been this thing of recognizing, because I was basically considered the black sheep when I started to share information about my experiences as a child, healing myself and having to deal with the truth in the mirror and having to properly, fully perceive myself and being able to see all players that sat at the table, recognizing that I wasn't in a space where participation was going to be given. I had to make decisions that were healthy for me. In that, I basically had a rate of, oh, well, we're going to shun you. You know, we're going to close you off. We're going to walk away from you. We're not going to support you. We're going to call you crazy. We're going to make you feel this way. We're going to start talking about you, spell work on you, so on and so forth. We're going to take you out, so on and so forth. The thing that I knew to be true, regardless of whatever was going on, is that I had the right in sacred lineage to be where I was at in my belonging, knowing that I had a family, because it was my foundation. The more that I allowed myself to honor and to pay homage to my ancestors, because they supported me, and the rate of me basically coming in and cleansing the bloodline. And the thing that I started with first as a cleansing mechanism was my tears. But a lot of the times when you look to the inner child, a lot of the times it'd be a muffled space, it'd be a warped space, it'd be a space and a rate that isn't allowed to be vulnerable and safe enough to properly express that which it's feeling. I believe that if you allow yourself to embody, you know, take a black candle, take a white candle, you know, honoring the thing that basically has gone before you, that you basically had to surrender, or that you basically have experienced in loss and in grief and heartbreak, and recognize that space, having something that belongs to that, or that is a symbolizing that symbolizes the loss that you've had, and just allow yourself to fully feel how it is that you are in these emotions, and allowing them to basically just be acknowledged. All right, is so vital when you are teaching the inner child not to basically be in the rate that it has been calcified in. Children are taught to fear. Okay, they're not born that way. All right, so when you recognize any destructive, you know, patterns that you are continuing to perpetuate by being in step of them, have basically been taught to you, you recognize that even in the self-sabotage, even in the self-destructive, even in the destructive patterns, things that we are to basically be cautious of at this point, they were conditioned, meaning that they could be reconditioned, cleansed, and purified. And it's necessary because at this point you get to trust your insight. You get to trust your intuition. You get to align to your true vision. And you don't have to be attacked or warped in this space. You get to stop the disruptions by dismantling the things that will come in to fracture you in who it is that you are being. Why? Because you belong. Regardless of whatever you've experienced in this physical domain with your physical experiences, you belong to that which is. And it's a celestial thing. It's a constellational thing, right? And it's a divine love. And sometimes you may not necessarily get it first physically, but it may come to you. I feel like you'll get it physically. It just may not come from the people that you want it from, right? But you may not get that love from your family, but agape love may show up in community. Thank you, Spirit. 1022. Agape love may show up in your community, right? And you may be able to get it through, like they said earlier today, your soul tribe will show up for you at a rate to where you'll be able to be covered and anchored in a space where you know this is a sound foundation, and this is the space that I'm gonna build on. Sometimes you be the first step to many steps that will be taken behind you. And some of us aren't just here for ourselves. We aren't here for a temporary bag. We're here for a financial wealth transfer that's going to basically alter the bloodline for lineage to come, right? And knowing that it's a sacred lineage that we are basically nesting and we're attuning, right? We get to be in representation of it by correcting the things, by honoring the things that have come, being in the full process of being in awareness of it, by not shunning it away and constantly trying to drown the things that we feel may be drowned in, okay? I hope this message finds you well. A lot of the times we don't recognize it, but the inner child is taught to fear. It doesn't fear, right? So when you disrupt these things by burning away the patterns that you've allowed yourself to be in constant participation in, you get to finally trust the spaces that are always there, ready for you, to support you, and recognizing that you are being supported. The more you pay homage to the power that you are basically sitting on, and that is your ancestors. I love y'all. I hope y'all have a dope day. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if y'all looking for a message, an intuitive message to be able to help you more specifically, please look at the link in the bio. Peace.